For most of this year, I've been watching electrified performance cars arrive with the wrong trade-offs. Mercedes gave the C63 a turbocharged four-cylinder and called it the future. Audi watched that decision and made a different one, 630 horsepower. A twin-turbo V6 that survived the electrification process intact. 3.6 seconds to 100, 2,370 kilograms. The first three numbers ask you to want this car. The last one asks you to trust a significant amount of engineering. From what I've seen at this reveal, the case for that trust is stronger than I expected going in. The widened body is a structural intervention, not a styling exercise. 90 mm added at both ends, significant enough that only the bonnet, roof, rear tailgate, and front doors carry over from the standard A5. Everything on the flanks and at the bumpers is new. You can see the difference at a standstill. The car sits lower and more planted in a way that genuine engineering produces, and a body kit doesn't. The black mask front end has functional logic underneath its aggression. The honeycomb single frame handles cooling for the V6 and its electrical systems. The air curtains channel airflow around the front wheel arches, which matters more on a car of this mass than on something lighter. At the rear, the oval tailpipes are positioned centrally in the diffuser. The designer at the launch said the team pushed their size as far as they could justify. I think they went one iteration too far. The rear looks slightly pinched around them in a way the front doesn't. One decision that costs the design something. What the exterior communicates is aggression. The 510 horsepower figure from the V6 alone communicates the justification for it, and that number is the start of the engine story, not the whole of it. Mercedes-AMG fitted the C63S with a four-cylinder turbocharged engine and spent a year explaining why. Audi kept the 2.9-liter twin-turbo V6, upgraded it with variable geometry water-cooled turbos, a modified Miller combustion cycle, and raised injection pressure, producing 510 horsepower from the combustion side alone. The electric motor on the gearbox adds 130 more, 630 horsepower combined, 825 Newton-meters of torque, 3.6 seconds to 100. That headline figure matches the BMW M3 Competition exactly, in a car carrying approximately 500 kilograms more, which is the electric motor making its argument at every junction, in every gear. The chassis development that defines this generation is the dynamic torque control rear differential. An 8-kilowatt electric motor in the rear transaxle distributes up to 2,000 Newton-meters between the rear wheels in 15 milliseconds. Bidirectional, active under both acceleration and braking. Audi Sport's managing director said at the reveal that the Understeer criticism which followed the RS4 across its entire lifetime is resolved here at what he called a new dimension. That is the most significant claim of this launch, and the hardware to support it is genuinely present, a world first in a production car. Whether it survives contact with a wet roundabout is what every road test from this summer will confirm. What I haven't told you yet is the number from the boot that reframes everything the battery is costing in practice. I went into the interior looking for where the budget ran out. In a car at this price, there's always somewhere. The glossy trim on the center console is it reads more Wolfsburg than Neckarsulm, and you find it on day one. Everything above that line is a different conversation. The flat-bottom Napa leather steering wheel carries physical RS satellite controls, direct buttons for drive mode selection, and the boost function, which unlocks 10 seconds of maximum system output on demand. In a car you might consider taking to a circuit, physical controls that work with gloves on are worth more than a clean surface finish. I find the capacitive touch controls alongside the MMI display fall short of that. Standard damp hands or cold fingers produce enough misfires to notice, and that's not acceptable in an RS. The curved OLED MMI display is fast and logs G-forces, tire temperatures, and drift angles in RS Torque Rear mode. The fact that Audi built drift angle recording into the standard system tells you who designed this car and how they expected it to be used. Build quality at the contact points that matter is flagship level. The boot is where the trade becomes visible. The 25.9 kilowatt-hour battery sits beneath the Avant's boot floor. That leaves 331 liters of loading space, roughly 170 liters less than the RS4 Avant this car replaces. If your week involves luggage for 4 people, a large dog, or any kind of regular estate car load, that number matters before you sign anything. There is also no DC fast charging. 11 kilowatts AC only. 2.5 hours from flat to full. For anyone charging at home overnight, this is never a problem. For anyone expecting to top up quickly at a motorway service station, the petrol engine will be doing the work because Audi chose not to engineer the DC option in. At over 100,000 euros, I'm not sure that was the right call. £89,400 in the UK, €107,850 in Germany. The BMW M3 Competition Touring costs roughly £30,000 less, weighs around 500 kilograms less, and matches this car's 0 to 100 figure. What the M3 doesn't have is 87 kilometers of all-electric city range, a torque vectoring system that constitutes a production car world first, or a V6 that outlasted the C63s. The smaller boot and the absent DC charging are real compromises. So is the weight. But if the dynamic torque control delivers what Audi Sport's engineers claimed at this launch, the RS5 Avant will be the RS car that finally put the understeer conversation to rest, and that would be worth the price of admission on its own. The road test settles it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. Leave a comment below with your thoughts or questions. I read every single one. And don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified about my next upload. See you in the next video.